This is the Zaopin Z1 Pro, possibly the best value wireless mouse on the market.
He's Eric, and I'm Devin. Today we'll be going over the shape, specs, and other features of this mouse, as well as testing the click and motion latency. And stick around to see where this mouse ends up on our tier list. Before we get into the review, I just want to thank QwertyKeys for sending us out this mouse. For reference, in this section, my hands are about 18 by 10 centimeters, while Eric's are around 18.5 by 10 centimeters.
The Z1 Pro is a small, egg-shaped mouse heavily inspired by the Razer Orochi V2. Unlike many other mice, egg shapes get wider towards the middle rather than narrower. This does prevent you from resting your pinky finger far back on the mouse, but does come with several benefits. The wider grip width and narrowing towards the front mean that despite being a small mouse, it's still suitable for people with larger hands. Additionally, the thin back of the Z1 Pro both stays out of the way for inner hand side-to-side micro adjustments and allows for deep palm contact for improved stability. As I said earlier, the Z1 Pro is very similar to the Orochi, probably the closest mouse on the market to it, even sharing the same thumb groove. The Z1 Pro is a bit longer, making it slightly worse for fingertip than the Orochi, but more natural and relaxed claw grip. The Z1 is also a bit narrower, which makes it feel more precise, but may result in more strain for people with larger hands. The Z1 also has a captive button designed to prevent your fingers in front from getting pinched while clicking. Another similar egg-shaped mouse is the Fanatec Aria. Compared to the Aria, the Z1 Pro is a bit shorter and quite a bit narrower. This means the Aria will work better for larger hands or more relaxed grips, whereas the Z1 will feel more precise and ideal for grips that rely more on micro adjustments. As for complaints about the shape, I do think there are some areas where the mouse just feels a bit unpolished, with some odd choices in curvature on the right side in particular. I personally think the Orochi and Aria are slightly better designed shapes, but the shape you like most will still come down to your hand size and personal preference. Let us know what other mice you'd like to see compared in the comments, and while you're at it, consider giving us a like and subscribing. Overall, the Z1 Pro still has a decent shape, which I believe is most suitable for any kind of fingertip grip for medium to large hands, relaxed fingertip for small hands, aggressive claw for medium-sized hands, relaxed claw and pincer claw for small to medium-sized hands, and knuckle claw for medium to large hands.
At just 46 grams and a solidly built shell with only very minimal flex anywhere in hand, I was very impressed with the build quality of this mouse. The lightweight makes it effortless to maneuver using a fingertip grip, and its great build makes me comfortable knowing I can squeeze as hard as I want to get a good grip.
The Z1 Pro operates in both 2.4 GHz wireless as well as wired mode. The Z1 Pro uses a 3395 sensor, which has built-in motion sync capability. The motion sync implementation is alright, but certainly not the best. In terms of motion latency, the Z1 Pro is one of the faster wireless mice on the market, being about 1 millisecond slower than the ZA13C with motion sync on, and around 0.5 milliseconds slower than the ZA13C with motion sync off in our testing. The click latency is not quite as impressive, sitting at around 3.4 milliseconds at its lowest rebound setting. This is not noticeable latency by any means, but is not as fast as the top wireless mice. Out of the box, it has a maximum polling rate of 1000 Hz, however it will be 4K Hz compatible with a separate dongle which is yet to be released. While we have not been able to test the 4K dongle yet, the performance may be similar to that of the Lamzu Atlantis 4K, which also uses a complex Nordic implementation. At 4000 Hz, the Atlantis 4K has around 0.1 milliseconds less motion latency than the ZA13C, and click latency at 0 milliseconds rebounds is around 0.6 milliseconds.
The battery life on this mouse at 1K Hz polling rate is solid. Advertised to be 65 hours per charge on the 200 mAh version, which we have. Additionally, they sell a 500 mAh version, which is advertised to have about 160 hours of life per charge. If your mouse does end up running out of battery, you can charge it via USB-C with an included cable. That certainly isn't anything to write home about. Weirdly enough, the thing that is worth writing home about is this insane dongle extender that comes with the mouse. This metal, low-profile extender with the logo printed on it is just so extra, and I love it. The buttons on this mouse feel great, for the most part. They feel very light and spammable, have just a tiny bit of pre-travel with next to no post. However, if you click the button on the very inside corner of the trigger, instead of actually clicking down the switch in the mouse, the button just kind of bends and doesn't do anything. This was more of an issue with the left click than the right click on our unit, however neither button was too bad. I just put a little square of super grip tape to keep my finger from shifting too close to that edge, and I never had a problem again. It is also worth noting that this issue might be more unique to our unit, as some other reviewers have not had an issue with this.
The side buttons on the Z1 Pro are decently well placed with very little pre and post travel and a medium weight tactile actuation. These aren't my favorite side buttons ever, but they are pretty good nonetheless.
Additionally, the scroll wheel is fairly good, having very well defined steps without it being extremely ratchety. Personally, I found this to be very good for scroll jumping, for b-hopping in CSGO, since it wasn't too ratchety, making it smooth enough to scroll easily with it. Personally, I haven't run into any scroll reversing issues so far on our unit. However, it does use a TCC Gold encoder, which is notorious for developing those issues, so your mileage may vary. The scroll click on it feels quite nice, having a reasonable but not too heavy actuation weight, and having a bit of soft post travel on the bottom mount, keeping it from feeling too stiff.
The Z1 Pro has a pretty smooth coating, which isn't especially grippy, but holds up well to sweat. Overall, the coating is not bad, though far from the best on the market. The skates on the Z1 Pro are quite good, with slightly rounded edges leading to a smooth glide. Aftermarket skates would be better, but I don't think it's necessary to replace these. The Z1 Pro does have adjustable debounce down to 1 millisecond, allowing most clicks to be registered, but I wouldn't really recommend it for achieving high CPS. The mouse is decent for jitter clicking due to the light buttons, but the tensioning does make it a bit harder to maintain a consistent CPS. I can hit around 13 to 15 CPS on the mouse, which is similar to most others. For butterfly clicking, the narrow buttons are difficult to hit using both fingers, and likely will be impossible if you have wider fingers. I can hit up to 20 CPS on this mouse, but not very consistently. And for drag clicking, the coating is just not very ideal, meaning I cannot consistently drag click on it.
This mouse is very well built and rather lightweight. Also, this mouse performs well for both relaxed claw and fingertip for a wide range of hand sizes. For those reasons, this mouse lands at the bottom of A tier on our tier list. This mouse is an unfathomably good value at just $42 for the smaller 200 mAh battery and $50 for the larger 500 mAh version. There is no question that the Zaopin Z1 Pro is one of, if not the best value wireless mice on the market right now.